Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. On today's episode, we're going to drop in on Nick from Ultra Corals Australia. Alright, so very rarely do I get starstruck in this hobby, but I must admit, getting the opportunity to spend a few minutes with Nick and hear about the really exciting stuff that he's doing, both for his business, but also just for the reef keeping industry as a whole, the whole ethos that Nick's got about sustainably caring for these corals and fragging them and sharing information to further the success of their growth and to try and get basically crowd sourcing the development of growing corals in home aquariums was just off the charts. And I must admit, I would have probably waited a few more days for this head cold to pass, but I just really wanted to get this video out to you guys. So sit back and enjoy while I pass over to Nick, who's going to tell us about what he's been working on.
Yep. So guys, just to introduce you to Ultra Coral, everyone knows we've been out of the domestic market for quite a few years, but you know, rest assured we've been very, very busy. About 5 years ago, I involved science in my business, and I felt responsible for what we do in pulling coral out of the ocean, that there's no research that we found out being done on industry-based corals, so no funding put into there. So we've been spending quite a few years working on the science. So we've been very, very quiet, but we've been very, very busy doing a lot of things. So involving science in our business, we've been looking at a lot of research and moving into spawning of corals, which we think is the next frontier for the industry, making sure that we're securing our future of consumption of coral from the oceans, giving people a new look at the way of corals in the future, that we could be spawning and creating new genetic colour lines, you know, keeping it interesting, keeping it cool. Also whilst, you know, feeding a lot of data into science that's been missing for many years. We're moving across to farming of coral, which is very important for us. You know, everyone loves the good stuff. We want to make sure that everyone gets to enjoy all the good corals. Bringing science into our business, we've felt compelled to make sure that we look at traceability of our corals. So our new system that we're bringing online is looking at traceability of corals. We have a new app coming online very shortly, which enables us via a QR code to track our coral globally. So we do a lot of growth rate data on our corals, and we're looking at connecting with our end users, with our the end consumer of our corals, and giving them the opportunity to help us out with our data collection. So our QR codes are not only looking at traceability of our coral, but also looking at identifying growth rates beyond our facility. So we're looking at getting the hobbyists more enthused about their coral and learning more about their coral and what actually takes to get their coral out of the ocean, farm it or spawn it, and continuing that growth rate data all the way to the people's homes. So the average aquarist. So if we have a look at one of these guys, every coral has a scannable QR code. So every single piece of coral that comes out of our facility will be numbered and catalogued. So within the coming years, we'll be able to share a lot of data of exactly how many pieces we're pulling out of the ocean and the growth rates of them. And the good part about it is we're coming in with mini colonies. Like a lot of people do small frags, but you know, we're very respectful of fraggers. We're very respectful of the hobbyists having an expensive hobby. So it's good with the mini colonies. That's a lot bigger, and people will start educating our end users on how they can take fragmentations from our mini colonies and make a few bucks for themselves. You know, everyone wants to be able to make a couple of dollars to help pay the power bill, to keep the wife off your back, which is always the key thing for us hobbyists. You know, and it's a really great thing. So obviously Ultra Coral, with me being a hobbyist, all my employees from my company are hobbyists as well. So they're all really, really enthusiastic about what they're doing. You know, they're all really, really excited. So having that skill set in my business has not been easy to achieve. But what I get is, you know, people that share my passion for coral, share the passion for the industry. The future stuff for us, you know, we're going to be doing a new facility. We're going to be doing commercialization of coral spawning. We're going to be doing science. We're going to be doing kids education. We're going to be doing research. We're going to be doing tourism as well. So, and looking at just moving into more and more stuff. We've got a couple of new things coming out next year, which everyone's going to love. Everyone will see it at Reefstock next year. Super excited. But everyone can know that that we have our first retailer in Australia, Exotic Aquaculture Australia. So we're coming back in slow because we want to make sure that people appreciate what we've been working hard towards. You know, making sure that that people appreciate what we've been trying to achieve, and that we really value our coral very highly, and we feel very responsible for what we're doing in the research department and furthering everyone's knowledge on coral and making sure everyone's got the cool stuff. So the important part about ultra coral is we very selectively pull the right pieces of coral out of the ocean that are always colourful, sold. You know, we want to make sure that every single piece of coral that we get stays alive, and we help the end user. So with the QR code, getting back to that, the QR code, when people scan it around the world, they'll know exactly what we've been feeding our coral, the water parameters that we keep them under, and also looking at the consumption chain. So obviously we collect, then we would sell to a wholesaler, and then we go to a shop, and then the end user. So we want to make that transition of our coral through those different people's tanks as smooth as possible. So the QR code and the information on our coral really helps that hobbyist either, you know, bring that coral back to its original brightness if it's been dulled out and someone else, but we're really looking for people to follow suit and making sure that that coral's healthy and kept in that same feeding regime, and you know, kept to its full coloration.
Same conditions, same water parameters, lighting, flow.
Yep. And just making it streamlined. You know, we're not for everyone. We are expensive. I do apologise to all of those reefers that can't afford our stuff, but the cost of doing science, the cost of doing the research, the cost of running this business is very expensive. But with us, you get the quality, you get the support, you get everything behind that you require.
That's awesome, man. Really good. You want to show us a couple of your favourite pieces here?
Oh, well, all right. So obviously everyone has their favourite coral. I have so many favourite corals, but one of my most favourite is the Homophilia bowerbanki. So, you know, some of these hillets we've been growing out for, you know, probably 4 to 5 months. These guys are awesome. We've got hundreds of them back at the facility, which we obviously want to obtain proper aquaculture where we grow them out. You know, the research that we're putting in is looking at the longevity of coral. So we look at the long-term growth rates of coral. So everyone's seen our crazy crazy bowerbanki that we got. So everyone needs to look on Reef Builders, because we're going to be the first to look at dissecting that awesome piece into every polyp and doing 2 years of growth rates. But what we're going to do is we're going to share that growth rate data with everyone. So every 3 to 6 months, everyone's going to see those frags growing. But we're looking at the specialised stuff about the coloration of the coral. You know, what creates these colours? You know, so we're looking at, with science, looking at, you know, how they're created, whether it's a bacteria or a protein or environment. But obviously the long-term grow out for us is looking how we can get more of those good pieces to the hobbyists. So long-term grow out for us is looking at what we need to do to take some of those really unique pieces offline so that everyone can share, and we can grow them out and take fragmentations from our own stock of those awesome pieces. So looking at sharing the love more, but you know, bear with us. This is not an easy road, and we're getting there. You know, everything we do is self-funded. So.
What about this SBS piece you've got over here that's...
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone in Australia knows me from my acro. End of the year, we're going to be releasing our acro range, tank hardened, awesome pieces that, you know, this is just a little taster of some of the wild stuff we've been bringing in. But yeah, everyone knows me from my acro. If there's my absolute favourite coral of them all, it is Aquapora. And I love searching the entire Great Barrier Reef for those crazy pieces, which everyone knows. But, you know, we're coming back in. Yeah, I know everyone's cheesed off, but, you know, 5 more months, and then we'll have it all dialed in nice, right, where, you know, there's no uncertainty. Everyone can be guaranteed they'll get a piece from us, and it'll be super healthy. You know, it's an important part for us to make sure we utilise our reef properly. But yeah, some of these aquapora we've been getting, the tenuous and the vermiculatas. But again, everyone follow reef builders. You know, we're using reef builders. They're helping us out, and we're really getting out there with all the cool colours. But rest assured, Australia, that all of those cool acro that come out of Indo, that you see in America, they will be available here, and we do have them in our oceans in Australia. So rest assured, all the good stuff is coming for everyone to enjoy.
Well, there you have it, guys. You can see why, head cold or not, I wanted to get this video out there, and that's because I'm just super excited that not only Australians going to be able to get their hands on those incredible Ultra Coral Australia pieces very soon, not just exported, but they're going to be available here in Australia. Personally, they're going to be available in Melbourne, which is even closer to me. But to be honest, I'm even more enthusiastic about where the guys are taking the industry, what they're doing with the quick scan codes and the apps, and showing where the coral was collected from, what conditions it was in the wild, what conditions it was grown in their facility, and just giving a little bit more traceability of how those corals progressed throughout their lifespan, and hopefully their lineage throughout the hobby as they get passed from one hobbyist to another. Their whole frame of mind of helping the hobbyist frag the coral and seek better health from that coral is just, it's industry leading, and sits really well with me. So huge thumbs up to the guys at Ultra Coral Australia. I'm going to be watching with lots of interest, as I'm sure all of my viewers will be. But that's probably all I got time for today. If you've got any questions, be sure to pop them in the comments section down below. If you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you liked the video and want to see a bit more like it, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification. All right, guys, till next time, thanks.